I heard the other day that your intuition isn't a gift. Or I think the person said, I wish people would stop saying that intuition is a gift because it's not a gift. We all have the innate ability to connect to our intuition. And so we're not special if we can do it. We're just using one of the tools that we have been given. I heard this and I thought, you know what? They're absolutely right. I 100% agree with this. When we think of our intuition as a gift, as something that some people have and some people don't, we immediately begin to think that either we're extra special if we have it, or maybe that we're not special enough if we feel like we don't have it. But your intuition is not something that's outside of you, it is a part of your electrical system in your body. And I'm going to explain to you from a scientific perspective how that is true. And I'm going to show you how to turn up the dial on your intuition so that you can stay in tune and in touch with the energy around you and make full use of the superpowers that you've been given by your creator. Welcome to Because I've Healed, the podcast where we talk about shaking the chains of expectations placed on us by the world. My name is Asha Wilkerson, and I'm a former high-achieving attorney and college professor turned healing-focused life coach for Black women. Each week, I'm bringing you a life lesson that started with healing. Not only will I explain the chains I was able to break, but also the success I experienced after. Let's get to healing. All right. If you're thinking, Asha, what are you talking about? Of course, intuition is a gift. Let me just break it down for you from a scientific perspective, because the only reason why I think I can really understand this right now is because I did this dive into what is the scientific information or evidence that we have that explains how energy healing and intuition and ancestral connection works. So I have done some research on this and I want to break it down for you. You have gone through a physics class in high school, and even if you haven't, you've heard of this man named Albert Einstein. He was a prolific scientist and gave us a few equations that we still use today that we hold as sort of absolute truth in the scientific community. And I'm sure that you've heard of E equals MC squared. I'm sure you've seen it on a meme, you've seen it in your classes. It's just common knowledge, at least in the West, right? So I'm going to break down for you what that even means. The equation E equals MC squared explains that mass and energy are interchangeable. Mass meaning a solid object, and energy meaning waves or particles or atoms that have gotten together that we don't see as a solid form. Those are interchangeable. And the reason why that can happen is because, remember back to high school physics class, everything is made up of atoms. And now there's even a smaller unit of measure that I can't remember the name of right now, but I'll say atoms because I know that we've all heard of that. So everything from my hand to the desk I'm sitting at, to the microphone I'm speaking in, to my hair, to the food I'm eating, at its most basic level, it is made up of an atom. An atom has a proton, a neutron, and an electron. The proton has a positive charge, the neutron has a neutral charge, and the electron has a negative charge to it. So even at our most basic level, like when you break us down into the smallest pieces, we have energy in those pieces, positive and negative charges. That means that when we put them together and we get a body, or we put them together and we get a table, we put them together and we get a microphone, we put them together and we get a banana, those objects, us included, have an electrical charge about us. Okay? That's what Albert Einstein's equation helped us to get to. E equals MC squared shows us that mass, a solid object, and energy, these particles or these waves, are interchangeable. One can become the other, and the other can become the other. They can take on a solid form, or they can disband or become a form that we're not able to perceive with our eyes. Microwaves, those are waves that heat your food. That's energy that heats your food that you cannot see. Infrared, you need to put on certain glasses to be able to see that, or it shows up as red light energy, right? Um, Different things that x-rays that has an energy, an MRI has energy to it, right? It can see things that we're not able to see and then spits out an image. It is all energy. So in our everyday daily lives, we are interacting with tons of energy that we're not able to perceive with our naked eye, but we believe in it because we've come into contact with it somehow, or it's given us something as proof that it exists. Because we as humans are made up of energy, we have an electronic field around us, an electromagnetic field around us called a biofield. And this isn't just a spiritual concept, it's actually recognized in science as the energy field that surrounds us and interpenetrates, meaning taps into, penetrates the body. It influences our physical and emotional health. So, because we are made up at our smallest level of atoms that have an electrical charge, when you put us together, we still have an electrical charge. And then we have an electromagnetic field around us called a biofield that then influences how we feel physically and emotionally. It also stands to reason that because, remember, our atoms have a positive and a negative charge, then we are then also interacting with the energy around us. You can feel that pull on a daily basis. So, because we are energetic beings, our bodies are constantly vibrating with energy, and these vibrations influence and are influenced by external energy fields. And because energy moves and interacts, just like waves that pass through water or air, energy flows through our bodies via pathways like meridians and our chakras. Our chakras we most commonly talk about 7 chakras in the body. There's 7 different energy points where we take in or give out energy, but also meridians. If you are into acupuncture at all, the acupuncture or acupressure points are along different meridians in our body that promote immunity or promote healing or promote stress relief. We have these different electrical currents within our body. Our heart also runs on an electrical system. Our brain runs in an electrical system. There are many, many, many electrical systems in our body. We just often don't hear Western medicine talk about it like that. But Eastern medicine, particularly traditional Chinese medicine, has been talking about it in this way for centuries. So because we can feel energy move and interact with our body, we are intuitive beings. Okay, so now you see from a scientific perspective how we are energetic beings and how we are constantly interacting with different energy flows around us. I want you to now recognize that intuition is your ability to perceive the energy that is around you. And your body has this innate ability because your body is made up of energy. Going back to Albert Einstein, that we don't question anymore, we just take, his truth as absolute truth. If you believe in that science, then you also have to understand that your body has the ability to be aware of other energies that are around you. You know this already. You know this because if you've ever been in a room and the door opens and you're not consciously aware of the door opening, but the energy changes in the room. You might feel like this, at least they write about this in my romance books, but it has happened in real life too. When someone walks into a room and you feel the energy change, you want to feel the good energy change, but sometimes if it's somebody you don't like, you feel that energy change as well. You may not see them walk in, you may not hear them walk in, but you feel the presence, the change of energy in some kind of a way. For those of us who grew up in houses that were maybe violent or toxic, you would come home from school and you would immediately tune in to what the energy in the house was. Was it safe for you to keep going? Did you have to be quiet? who was around, what was the temperature of the room. That is your ability to perceive energy. That is your intuition. You are intuiting, you are interpreting, you are picking up, you are perceiving what is happening with the energy around you, whether it is with people or circumstances, situations, plants. If you've walked into a room like a plant shop, who doesn't love a good plant shop these days? And you immediately feel calm. Plants are able to absorb and transmute energy, transmute like challenging or kind of troubled or low energy into a higher vibration, which is why you walk into a plant store and automatically just feel calm and relaxed. Your body is able to perceive that. So that is what your intuition is. Your intuition is your ability to perceive. So when I tell you that your intuition is not a gift, I mean that it's not something that's outside of you. It's not something that has been like bestowed on you by some other witchy woo woo person. No, your intuition was given to you by your creator, whoever you believe in as your creator. Humans are designed because we are made up of energy fields. We are designed to perceive other energy fields around us. And our intuition is the ability to turn up the dial to listen to what other energy influences are around us. So when I tell you that you have the ability to become more intuitive, I mean that you have the ability to turn up the dial on being able to perceive. Let me tell you a little bit about my journey with intuition. When I was a kid, I feel like I just kind of knew things. I didn't see spirits at the end of my bed or like have conversations with the dead or anything like that. But there was stuff that was going on between my parents and their marriage, and I just knew things. I didn't have the language as a kid to understand what was going on, but I immediately knew that my parents would be better off if they were separated. I knew that my dad was kind of doing some stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing, not anything illegal or anything like that, but like I knew when conversations were a little off and that me at like 5 and 6 shouldn't be hearing or shouldn't be like perceiving what I'm perceiving, but I didn't have the words for it. I knew when I was really, really young, I remember realizing that there was this big truth. I don't want to get into it because I don't want to put all of my business out there in the streets. Not yet, not right now. I will probably do it in a later episode. But I just knew these certain things to be true, and a lot of times they would get dismissed or they would get passed over either because my parents didn't think that I was old enough to know. You're trying to protect the kids. And so you tell the kid, no, honey, that's not true. And inside you're like, I'm pretty sure that that's true. But now you're telling me it's not true. So did I trust what I perceived? Should I trust what I perceived? After you have a certain number of incidents like that, and I don't think it's intentional. I don't think parents are trying to make you mistrust yourself. I think parents try to protect children. And when we as adults don't understand or don't know how to handle what they're perceiving, we often tell kids that what they're perceiving is wrong. So then we grow up and we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust what we're perceiving. I didn't want to be judgmental. So I didn't know if what I was understanding or picking up was my intuition or was it just fear? Was it intuition or was I just being judgy? Because I didn't want to be judgy, right? So I spent the last few years really tapping in and learning how to trust my intuition. And I started with taking courses. I started learning what is clairvoyance, what is clairaudience, what is clairsentience, what are these things, what are these clairsenses? And I needed to understand the what and the how behind it before I could tap into it on my own. Now I will tell you, fast forward 4 or 5 years later, and I'm like a completely different person, even just in the last year, because it took a while for me to turn my intuition back on. It took me a while to be able to turn up the dial on my intuition to be able to hear it because I was busy, I was moving, I was logical, I was an attorney, things had to make sense, right? I didn't want to be an emotional woman. And so everything needed to be rooted in logic. But these last few years, I have really turned up the dial on my intuition. My intuition doesn't always make sense. as I'm getting ready to use it, but it always makes sense after I have followed it. And the way that I've been able to do that is to learn to understand the science, to understand the how, the practices. I've been able to create practices that work for me. My practice isn't going to look like your practice. Maybe there will be some things that overlap, but then you'll also make it your own and you'll incorporate your own culture and your own habits and your own likes and wants into your practice of turning up the dial on your intuition. I have created a 12-week group program to help you reconnect to your intuition through ancestral healing. This 12-week program will help you go from experiencing doubt and questioning yourself and seeking validation from others and outside resources and just not being sure if you should follow what you think you should do or if you should follow the path that's already been written, to being an intuitive woman who innately trusts herself, who feels connected to her creator, connected to her divine purpose, and connected to her ancestors as she moves through life. You want to move from feeling fear and doubt to making empowered decisions relying on your intuition. I'm going to show you how to do that over 12 weeks. We will meet together 3 Saturdays of the month. The first 2 Saturdays of the month are going to be a teaching or a workshop. I'm going to share with you information, give you some background, some knowledge, and some practices that you can actually take and make your own. And then the third Saturday of the month, we're going to be engaging in breath work, which is an amazing practice that will help you relax, just drop into your body, and connections that you've been trying to make with your conscious brain will start to come to you with your subconscious brain. People have absolutely reported feeling more connected to their ancestors, feeling more like they're in the flow, increasing their self-trust and improving actually the relationships that they have with people around them because they've given themselves the space. And between sessions, I will also give you journal prompts and worksheets that you can do to help build your intuition throughout our program. And if you don't do it, it's okay, because your brain is going to be working in the background. You don't have to be actively focused on it the entire time. You can kind of turn that off and let the things mix and simmer and match while you are going about your daily life. We will also have a Slack group for support where you can post your questions, you can share your wins, you can talk about the dreams you're having, about the connections you're making, the epiphanies that have occurred, so that we can stay connected as a community in between sessions. All of our sessions will be recorded, so you can watch the replay and you will have access to the recordings for a long time after. I want to say for the lifetime of the program. That should be absolutely right. You will have the recordings so that you can go back and watch over and over again, because each time you watch, you'll be in a different place and certain points will hit differently. If you are getting ready to make a life decision, if you are stuck at a crossroads right now and not sure where you want to go and what you want to do, I encourage you to join this program. At the beginning of the program, we will pick something that you want to make a decision about, that you want to be able to use your intuition to make a decision about. And as we grow our intuitive practice and our ability to perceive our intuition, I guarantee you that you will have an answer about the question that you ask within the 12 weeks of the program. But the best part of it is when you turn up the dial on your intuition, you'll be able to answer the question that you have specifically and also any other question that comes up, because your channel will be open. So know that you have this ability to. It's not some secret gift that I have to give to you. It is a part of your makeup as a human being. You have an electromagnetic field, you have a biofield around you that is already affected by the energy around you. You know it because when you put on that song that you love, hey, and you start gigging and stuff, like, it raises your mood. You also know that when someone with an attitude walks into a room, you feel that as well. You are using your intuition without even knowing it to perceive the energy around you. So now I just want to hone in on your ability to perceive, on your ability to tune into it so that you can use it for you and become the strong, empowered, confident, sure woman that you are designed to be. It is a part of who you are as a human being. And most of us have turned down the dial on it. It's like deciding not to use our right hand. It doesn't make any sense when you decide not to use your right hand, like you just voluntarily close your fist and don't use it. No, don't do that. It's the same thing with your intuition. Open up your intuition so that you can use this part of your being that is designed for you to be used so you can be firing on all cylinders. All right, I love you. I cannot wait to see you in the program. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram, send me a message, and I will get right back to you. My handle over there is Asha Wilkerson, ESQ. All right, ciao, ciao. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. The best way to keep in touch is to go to my website, ashawilkerson.com, and join my email list. If you'd like more information about this episode that you just listened to, head to the show notes and you'll find all the details and all the links. See you next week.